What's up, pet people? My name's Lexia and welcome back for this week's video. So, kinda like last week, I'm gonna be going over 10 things that are toxic to cats, but instead of food, I'm gonna be doing 10 common household plants. Now, I don't expect everyone to have these plants. I don't expect everyone to have ever own these plants, but I definitely think there's something that at some point someone has either been gifted, looked at to have as a plant, or gotten themselves, because they're very common plants, and that's why I'm doing 10 of them, because there are way more than 10 plants that are toxic to cats. But if you're interested in that and want to find out a little bit more about those 10 plants that are toxic to cats, please keep watching. Okay, so getting right into today's video, as I said, I'm going to be doing the top 10 most common household plants that are toxic to cats in my opinion, because as I said, there are hundreds of different types of plants that are toxic to cats, but I'm just going to do the most common ones, starting with what I feel like is the most common plant in general, and that is the aloe vera plant. Aloe vera is a normal, in my opinion, household item that a lot of people have because they're cute, they're really easy to take care of, you can cut them and use them for sunburns and stuff. They're really generally something I feel like a lot of people have had or do have in their house. Now, that being said, they are incredibly toxic to cats. Not toxic enough to kill them, but toxic enough to dehydrate them almost to the point of death. And one of the things that dehydrates them that aloe causes the most is diarrhea and vomiting. The reasoning behind it is the gel liquid that is inside of an aloe vera plant is not good for them, and it causes intestinal issues within the cat. That doesn't allow them to fully process their food and get rid of the waste how they need to, so it causes vomiting and diarrhea, which again causes dehydration. Another thing it causes is lethargy. I had issues with this in the last video. I'm just gonna spell it out again. Lethargy. And it makes them incredibly tired, which can be a reason. Dehydration can be a reason that they're so tired and weak, but you just want to make sure that you monitor them once they do get in this stage. I highly recommend monitoring them if you notice them throwing up at all, especially with cats that are older. Eating plants in general is something that cats enjoy doing. They see a plant and for some reason feel the need to go eat it and destroy it. So definitely keep an eye on your cat if you notice them eating aloe or any of the other plants I'm about to list. But that's the number one most common in my opinion, so that's why it went first. Now, after aloe is another not really flowering plant, but I feel like a lot of reptile owners own this. I know I own this, and that is a pothos plant, also known as devil's ivy. So I do have pothos. I have them up on the wall out of the reach of the cat, which we're going to go into a little bit more at the end when deterring them from eating it. But devil's ivy, or pothos, there are many different variations of it, but all variations cause the same effects. So it causes their mouth to swell, it causes excessive drooling, vets have said it causes tingling, it causes pain to them, their gums become inflamed, everything becomes swollen, they have difficulty swallowing, and they with the excessive drooling, they become dehydrated and then they start vomiting. This is obviously a little bit more severe than what aloe causes due to the swelling and the difficulty swallowing. If it becomes too swollen in the throat area, they can have difficulty breathing, and this can actually cause death in your pet, not in your plant. But it can cause death, and it's something that needs to be monitored very closely as well. With vining plants, a lot of vining plants, the best thing you can do is stick them up out of the way on a wall or in like a little pot up that your pet can't reach. So moving on from the pothos, which is an ivy and a vining plant, we're going to move right into English ivy. Now, English ivy isn't as dangerous per se as pothos plants. It still causes the vomiting, it still causes abdominal pain, it causes diarrhea, and it causes drooling. The only thing that's different between this vining plant and the other type of vining plant that I mentioned is that English ivy does not cause swelling in the mouth. And I honestly don't know a whole lot of people who have English ivy like in their house, but if you have an outdoor cat, English ivy is very common outside in like the patio and garden area. It's a very good coverage plant, which a lot of people use, so you definitely need to monitor your cat. If they're an outdoors cat or an indoor cat, just be aware of the plants you have in your yard. And try to limit the amount of toxic plants you have in your yard, because I'm not saying all cats are going to immediately go eat those plants, but the chance is there, so you need to minimize that. Moving on from English ivy, we are going to go into the last non-flowering plant that I'm listing, and that is the snake plant. A lot of people know about the snake plant. I feel like a lot of reptile owners also have this one because it's a very good vivarium plant, like the pothos. But snake plants, they can get very large, they're very pretty, they help clean the air, they are great plants to have, but not great plants to have if you have cats. Snake plants, like the others, cause nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, drooling. This also causes drooling, which combined, all of them can cause severe dehydration, which in the end can result in the death of your cat. So it doesn't directly cause death, but the things it does cause can lead to death. So you need to be very careful with this one. Because it is a bigger plant that needs to be in a pot, you can't necessarily stick it on the wall. And it's not really a hanging plant either, so if you want a snake plant, I recommend getting like a plastic one. Normally with all of these plants I'm naming, you can find some sort of plastic variation. I know it might not be what you want, but again, when it comes to the health of your cat, you gotta weigh your options, and I would definitely get a plastic plant over having to go to the vet because my cat's dying. But that's just me and something I recommend possibly doing as an option for you. So the rest of these plants on my list that I have are flowering plants, and I'm listing them because they're most commonly given plants as gifts. It doesn't matter if they're like fully potted and alive or not. Like, any cat eating these is still highly dangerous to them, even if it's giving you like a bouquet, or like if they're not fully alive, they're still dangerous. And the first one, which I think is the most commonly given, especially around Mother's Day gift, is the tulip. Tulips are incredibly dangerous. They're not going to cause immediate death like some of the others I listed, but they do cause lethargy, they cause excessive drooling, vomiting, diarrhea, and it has been proven that in cats and dogs, tulips for some reason cause depression, which can cause them to, again, be lethargic, not really active, not want to do anything, not want to eat and drink, which can be more problematic. If they're throwing up and not eating or drinking, then their health will decline very, very rapidly, and not a lot you can do after that. You just have to make sure to take them to the vet. But moving on from tulips, we have the lily family. The regular lilies, like water lilies and stuff, they cause mouth swelling, dehydration through vomiting and diarrhea. I already said vomiting. Wow, okay. Through vomiting and diarrhea. The pain in the mouth, swollen gums, swollen tongue, swollen airways. So you have to be careful with those. The water lilies particularly. And then peace lilies are a little bit more dangerous than water lilies for some reason. Don't know why, but they cause oral irritation, meaning like burning, pain, mouth swelling, throat swelling, which causes difficulty swallowing. They cause vomiting. They cause excessive drooling. And then this one causes skin irritation. So if you notice your cat like scratching a whole lot or picking, or if you like look through their fur and their skin's really red and irritated and rash like, chances are they ate a peace lily, because that's one of the few flowers that do that. And you immediately need to seek a vet's care. So moving on from that, we have the last three, which are also very commonly given plants in my opinion. We have daffodils, and that causes, again, vomiting, drooling, dizziness, like your cat will be unoriented and moving around a lot, drooling. The thing about daffodils is they are actually way more dangerous than any of the other plants I've said, because they can cause your cat's blood pressure and blood sugar to drop rapidly, which can cause seizures, convulsions, coma, and even death. This is one of the few flowers that can automatically like cause death if they eat too many of them. And the part of the daffodil that's the most dangerous is the center part of the flower where all the seeds are. Not necessarily the petals as much, but if they ingest the petals, it is still highly dangerous and toxic to them. You just need to, if you know your cat ate the daffodil, you can assess how quickly you need to get them to the vet based off of looking at which part they ate. Like if they ate the entire top flower part, just don't bother calling anyone, go to the vet immediately. Don't waste your time calling, go to the vet. Just go. Trust me, it'll be worth it than wasting 5 minutes trying to wait to see if they have an opening. Take them to the emergency vet and be like, hey, by the way, here's what happened, while you're on your way. Call them while you're on your way, not before. Daisies are a little bit less dangerous, but still toxic. They cause the vomiting, diarrhea, dehydration, excessive drooling, and this one actually causes seizures as well, just not as severe as per se a daffodil. Now, the last one I'm going to go over is once again a lily. Just stay away from the lily family. If you have cats, they're bad news. But the last one I'm going to go over is a tiger lily. I feel like these are also given as gifts, just not as frequently as some of the others I mentioned, and they cause vomiting, diarrhea, dehydration, loss of appetite, kidney failure, and death. So this is obviously one of the more severe ones. You have to make sure, again, that they don't eat the middle of it. The leaves are still toxic, but the middle of the plant is definitely the most toxic part. And with this plant, you have about 12 hours before it declines rapidly and their kidneys fully give out. So this one you need to be especially time conscious and make sure you are getting ahead and calling the vet or calling poison control or the emergency vet. Just make sure you get your animal help immediately, especially with this flower. So now that we've gone over the 10 flowers, plants, and you've seen them all and can hopefully properly identify them based off of what I gave you, we're going to quickly go over a couple ways to deter your pet from accessing these, or just like eating them in general, like not just like finding them and being like, ooh, plant. You don't want that happening. So as I said, I have wall hangers in my bathroom, and that's where I keep my pothos to move into my tanks and whatnot. I also do have a snake plant, but I do have it out of the way of my cat to where he can't get it. And then my other plants that I do definitely have an English ivy looking plant, but it is a plastic plant. So make sure you can put them in wall hangers or ceiling hangers, whatever plant you get. Ivies look especially great in wall and ceiling hangers, so if you want an ivy plant, like the English ivy or the devil's ivy, definitely get one of those. If you want something such as like a aloe plant or a snake plant, I would prefer, well, I would not, well, I do prefer, I would prefer personally having to buy a plastic one if my cat could reach it and I didn't like see anywhere fit for it to be other than where my cat could reach it. I would go for plastic or just not get one. If you don't feel like a plastic plant will do justice, or it would make your house be looking tacky or something, just don't get the plant. Because they have tons of beautiful plastic and fake plant variations at places like Hobby Lobby and Michael's, and places online you can order them. That looks great. Just, you know, again, as I said earlier, it's kind of a situation where you're judging, do I want this plant or do I want my cat to be healthy? If you choose the plant, you probably shouldn't have a cat to begin with, if we're being honest. But definitely get like fake variations of it. It looks great in my opinion still. You don't have to take care of them as much, and it's just healthier and safer for your cat. Matter of fact, I have fake daisies over there that I just noticed I had. But yeah, so fake plants are a way to go. Wall hangers, ceiling hangers are a way to go. You can have the plant if you put it outside. If you have an outside cat, don't plant them outside. It's pretty simple when it comes to making sure that your cat can't get into contact with these different types of plants. As always, if you do suspect that your cat ingested this or any of these types of plants, or even if you know other types of plants that are toxic, please call your vet, call your emergency vet, call poison control. Go to the emergency vet if you know your regular vet is not open, and if it is open, go to the regular vet. Depending on the severity of whatever type of plant they ate, will honestly determine how quickly your vet can get to you if you go to the normal vet, whereas if you go to the emergency vet, obviously they'll try to get to you quickly. If they're full, it might take a little more time, but either way, you have to make that conscious decision of this will be faster or this will be faster and better. It's honestly up to you as the owner to figure that out. But anyway, as always, thank you for watching. I hope you guys learned something from today's video. I know it was kind of a little, just went through all of the different points I had. And I know I didn't name all of the plants that cats are, that are toxic to cats. If I did that, we would be here for hours, especially if I went through all of their symptoms as well. But as for today, we just went over the top 10 most common household plants. I might do another variation where I do like top 10 common outdoor plants that are toxic for cats. I don't know yet. Might do that, might not, we'll see. But if you liked today's video, please give it a big thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Be ready for next week's video. I don't quite have that one planned out yet, but I will by the time you see this video. So I'm really excited with how the channel's progress is going. And once again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye!